Hey guys, my name's Eric Downs. I am a drummer, producer, and musical director based in Los Angeles, California. And today I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to get set up for a great drum recording. Now I'm going to start partway into this process and assume you've already put some good heads on your drums and you've got them tuned up nicely. If you haven't done this, please take the time to do so. The quality of your final recording is only as good as the sound that you can capture, so if you put good in, you'll get good out. Now today's setup is going to be using 8 mics. We've got a kick mic, snare top and snare bottom, got a rack tom, an auxiliary snare, floor tom, and 2 overheads. And then these 8 mics are running into my audio interface, which is the Motu 8 Pre ES. Now for what it's worth, quick side note here, this interface is brand new to me. I just got it and I have to say it's pretty awesome. For the last 4 to 5 years, I've been using the original 8 Pre for all of my drum recordings. I've literally used it for hundreds and hundreds of recordings, including all of the videos that I put on YouTube. The thing has been a total workhorse, but I wanted to expand my setup to support more drums and more mics. So I picked up the 8 Pre ES and I chained the original Motu 8 Pre to it using the light pipe connections in the back, and just like that, 16 inputs. The thing sounds awesome, and it has some really cool upgrades that have been huge game changers, honestly, for my workflow. But anyway, I'll show you more about those in a sec. Let's get started. All right, step 1, mic placement. When it comes to miking your drums, there are literally an infinite amount of ways that you can do it. And for each one of those ways, there is some audio nerd on YouTube who has made a video explaining it. So I'm not going to go into too much depth here. But what you do need to know is that based on the height and angle at which you place your mic with regard to the drum head, you can get a variety of sounds that range anywhere from tight and tonal to light and breathy, airy and natural. Now for me, if I'm being honest, my technique when miking my drums isn't overly scientific. I mainly just try and position the mics in a way that they can capture as much of the drum head as possible in order to get a nice overall balanced sound. Now when it comes to our overheads, I know you can't see them, but I'm using a spaced pair pattern, which is one right here, one right here. I like this pattern a lot because it provides a really big overall image of the kit, and you can pan the mics hard left and right to get a really big wide sound, so love it. Okay, now our next step is a very important one, often overlooked, and that is gain staging. Now gain staging is the process of getting a nice healthy amount of signal in through your mics to your audio interface and then into your recording software. Again, in this area there is a ton of science that I'm not going to get too far into, but suffice it to say that if you can get a really solid signal that's not too low but also not too hot, it will save you a ton of time and headache when you go to mix what you've recorded. Now, to show you this process, I'm going to use one of those cool new features I mentioned on this new audio interface called Touch Console. Touch Console is a part of the Motu app that allows you to control all of the aspects and parameters of your audio interface completely wirelessly from your smartphone or a tablet, like this one. If we take a look here, we've got our virtual console with all of our channels, our faders, all the normal stuff. And if I hit one of the little gears here at the top of any channel, I've got things like mic trim, got a phantom power, a 20 decibel pad, phase flip, as well as fancier tools like an EQ, gate, compressor, even effects like reverb and stuff like that. This thing is awesome. But for me as a solo drummer, personally, like recording myself in my own studio, this has been huge. Being able to sit behind the kit and just play and watch the levels hit on the meters and make real-time adjustments to my inputs, rather than going and like recording myself and then going to the computer, checking it out, and maybe turning some knobs, adjusting levels, and then going and doing that process again, has honestly made the entire recording process so much faster and easier. So anyway, this thing is great, but let's move on and see it in action. All right, let's get started on the snare drum. If you want to follow along, I'm going to be working on channel 2, snare top. Let's take a crack and see how it sounds. All right, so we are coming in pretty hot right off the bat. The guideline that I've always learned and worked by is to aim your peak signals to land somewhere around negative 18 dB. We're coming in here at just about 0. So I'm gonna go into the little gear at the top of this channel. I'm gonna turn the pad on. That's going to reduce the signal by 20 decibels. And then I'm gonna use the mic trim to add roughly 8 back in. Let's see where that puts us. Well, that is just about right on the money. God, it's almost as if I planned it. Cool, so the only thing left to do at this point is to repeat this process for each of your mics, get a nice healthy signal in for all of them, and then we're on to our final and last step before we record, and that is to noodle around aimlessly for a little bit and make sure all of our audio signals are getting in through our interface and into our recording software safely. So let's do this very important step. All right, sounds pretty good. The only step left from here is to hit record and play some actual music. The track I'm going to be playing to today is called Everybody Knows by one of my favorite artists, Kimbra. I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found it helpful and informative. And if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please feel free to leave them below. And as always, don't be afraid to follow me on Instagram. My handle is right here. Till next time, take care.